Hey, welcome back to Legacy LaunchPod. It's been a minute since I recorded something new, and that's because there's been a lot going on between the holidays and family viruses. I was the last person to get it, and then when I got it, I was out for a month. I'm kidding you not. We're a family that hardly ever gets ill, and when we got it, it was bad, and I got it really bad, and I was feeling really sorry for myself. I'm on the tail end of this thing. You can probably hear it in my voice, but my brain is functional, thank God, and I'm here today. I really want to dive straight into a topic that I think is going to be super valuable for you, and that is the topic of when you've been burned in the past by coaches and coaching programs, because we've all been there. I have had my own share of experiences, and I want to talk about this because I think we should just talk about the pink elephant in the room and what we can learn from it in our own lives and our own businesses as we strive to become the best in the industry at whatever it is we're doing. I think we have to be really transparent, open, and honest about these experiences we're having because, quite frankly, a lot of us have had them. I'll share a little bit about my own experiences and what I've learned from them, and hopefully what you're learning as well. So listen, some of us are skeptical. I talk to people, hundreds of people every week in the DMs on Instagram and just in everyday life. Many of us have become skeptical on the internet. And I think it's 100% justified. We should be skeptical on the internet. Everybody and their dog is claiming to be a guru. Everyone claims that they're a coach. And it's just like, it's a needle in a haystack thing. Who can I actually trust? I've been there. And guess what? I always have a coach. You will rarely find me not getting coaching from someone. If your coach doesn't have a coach, that's a red flag because they aren't getting training. I want to talk about some of the actual experiences you have had that I have had, and ultimately, this has got to be a learning experience because you're not going to be able to avoid bad people, but hopefully you have a better radar and you have an example of what is trustworthy and what's not trustworthy. So let's talk about some of the things that have made us feel the most burned in a program before. I'm going to list off some of mine, and maybe you can add to the conversation, add in comments wherever you're seeing this, or DM me and tell me more about what you've experienced. So here's one of them for me, which is false advertising. Who here has experienced false advertising where someone's like, here's what I do, here's what you're going to get, and you've seen a webinar, you've seen the sales page, you've seen all of this, and you get into it and you're like, this is not what I thought it was. This is not what I was promised. This is not what I signed up for. I have personally experienced this, and it's a real disappointment because you feel hoodwinked and you also have that buyer's remorse. It's really like a false expectation, especially when there's an outcome or a result attached. You're telling me that you can get people this result, and if I go through your thing, that I'm going to be able to get that result too. And you get in there and it's a big letdown. This is not what was advertised. So I've been there, you've been there. How can you sniff that out a little bit better? I think coaches should be more transparent with what's in the program. And so, like, for example, what I do is right now when someone wants to join Legacy LaunchPad, I've got a list of all the modules. You can see what's in it. If there's something missing, what I do is we'll cover it on a coaching call and turn it into a recording and add it to the program. But you'll know out of the gate, like, she doesn't give us actual recipes for a dog food product or something like that, right? Like, I'm just making it up, but you get the point. So I think what coaches need to do, whether you are a coach or you're looking for coaching, people should be more upfront about what you're actually getting and not just promising results. The second thing I hear from a lot of people is that they have been burned because they got a bunch of fluff. It's kind of like false advertising, especially in the mindset world. They spend like 6 weeks on their why or 12 weeks on their ideal client profile. And it's just like, okay, once you got it, let's move on. Too much fluff, not enough practical, actionable steps that move the needle. I've been there too. I was just, frankly, it was a waste of time. I'm ready to rock and roll. Give me the stuff that I need to do. Tell me what I get to do. I'm going to go and do it. If you say jump, I'm like, how high? Tell me what to do. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go. I trust that you've walked this road before. But the problem is that, like, for those people who are in that position to just get a bunch of fluff, you're just like, I roll and I can't believe I paid for this. Like, come on. So that's another one that I think. And so what do we learn from that one? I think that if you're going to teach, make sure you have something that translates to actual practical steps or advice. If you're a coach and if you are on the receiving end of that and you're not seeing that in the program, tell your coach. Let them know, say, I like the concept of this, but I need some more concrete steps. Can you add to that lesson? Give them the feedback. And maybe they just didn't realize that people needed something more advanced and it was too surface level. Okay. So that's another one. Number 3 would be, and this one drives me nuts, shiny object projects, or in other words, busy work. I have seen a lot of this in programs before that, even I've been in before, where they gave me a project like, okay, to scale your business, we need to change your entire operating system of your whole entire business. You need to switch to this platform and do this and blah, 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 blah. I call that shiny object syndrome, because at the end of the day, if you've got a platform, and I'll even tell my students this, like, listen, I think you should be on Shopify and my students who are selling physical products. But if you're on a website right now and it's working, you don't have to move there. That's a project you can do later. I'd rather you just start making sales with whatever platform you're on right now. And when you have a weekend and you're bored and you want to do it then. But it's about getting the results much faster, much sooner, and not getting tied up in busy work projects that feel productive, but they're not actually moving the needle. Okay, so that's another one. What do we learn from this? Some of you need to just hear this. Some of you are like, oh, I didn't even realize I was doing a shiny object project. I didn't even realize that I was hoodwinking myself thinking I'm being productive. And yes, it's true. You can spend all this time on collecting domain names and building another website, fancy landing page, all this stuff, but it's not actually the thing that's going to move the needle. If you aren't doing sales related activities that end up with cash in your bank account, that is not a productive activity. You can learn from it that way, and also just watch out for people who tell you need to change your whole entire ecosystem of whatever your business is in order to get to the next level. Because the truth is, I would rather you work on those things later to optimize. That's an optimization thing. You're not going to make sales unless you do it. Okay, so know the difference. The 4th thing is that many coaches aren't actually an expert. And this drives me nuts. Everybody starts out somewhere, but we have a flood of people on the internet right now who claim to be experts and know what they're doing, who haven't done the thing that they are teaching. I see this a lot, and I'm going to call it out, in this MRR industry, this master resale rights industry. It's going to go down in smoke any minute now, because there is a flood of people who have 12 followers on their Instagram account, and I'm a faceless digital marketing with passive income, blah, blah, blah. And they have 12 followers. Learn how to make passive income online. And they've never made $5 online, okay? So you have that kind of thing. And then you have more people that also look credible, but the only thing they've ever done is sell the thing they're selling you. So the only business experience is from selling you the thing, right? And so let's find people who are actually experts. And how do you know they're experts? That they've done the thing that you're looking to do, okay? So find people who have a background building other kinds of businesses, or businesses that you want to build, and it's not just selling courses. There's those outliers. You got your Amy Porterfields and the whatever, where their whole thing was, they're known for doing that, but they now have 10 years experience, so they know what they're talking about. So we're talking about, the up and coming coaches and up and coming people. So make sure that you're doing your due diligence, that they have a track record of actually building businesses in the field, and that they have the life that you want too. If you think, if someone's like a total workaholic and they do not prioritize family and they don't have the same values as you, be careful who you learn from, because you will be like them. The Bible says you will be like your teacher, right? If you spend enough time with that person, they are training you how to think and the logic process, and you're going to be thinking and acting like them. So choose your teachers wisely. And then the last one is the whole over-promising and under-delivering. If I've learned anything about customer service from my personal background of everything from the music industry to e-commerce to digital products and even just manufacturing and things like that, the worst thing you can do is overpromise and underdeliver. That will ruin your reputation. Online, your reputation is everything. Nothing could be more important. It happens all the time to businesses where people will trash talk you and they might start a Reddit thread about you. And by the way, someone's a good teacher and that they're actually doing something good in the world if there's a Reddit thread on them and a bunch of haters in a Facebook group with haters. Then they're actually doing something. I think that's my litmus test now for if I'm going to hire somebody, there better be a hate thread on them somewhere on the internet. If there isn't, then they're not doing anything worthwhile talking about and they're not making any waves. Be careful of that. On the other hand, we want to make sure, what do we learn from this? Because we've all been in programs where the promise was big and it was a huge letdown and disappointment. So what I try to do is we do it the other way around. You reverse engineer it the other way around. You underpromise. And okay, so this is the key. So if I tell you, this is what we're going to do in the program, this is what's in it, this is what you're going to learn, I'm going to keep some stuff out because I want you to be pleasantly surprised when you go in. You're like, wow, this is more than what I came here for. I'm getting more than what I thought. And when I say we do a Q&A call and you're going to get a little bit of my time, little does someone know that when we do a deep dive, it's almost like a one-on-one and they're getting all this advice. And then my husband jumps in and gives his take on something. And he has a totally different brain, more on the operations and finance side of things. It's like, whoa, value times 10. Something that was worth $10,000. There's advice we've given that was actually worth millions of dollars. This is what you got to learn, okay? So it doesn't matter what you're selling. I want you to underpromise and overdeliver. You still need to bring an outcome because you are solving someone's problem and you're helping them. You've got to sell that thing, whatever it is, whether it's a knick-knack or it's a program or whatever it is. You've got to bring it. But what we do is we leave out some of the little bonuses and special things because we want to blow them away and pleasantly surprise and delight. Okay, so remember that. We want to surprise and delight people. How do we do that? It's by holding a little something back. Maybe if you're on Etsy, you're sending someone their package, maybe there's a little candy in there or a little handwritten note or just something where they're not expecting it. And it just feels like, wow, this was really personalized and this was really special. These are the things I'm trying to figure out all the time how I can do this in my companies. I still have a multi-seven-figure e-commerce business and I do a little coaching on the side because I just love empowering people to experience some of the things I've experienced. And I want to give people the keys to the kingdom. I want to help them build a kingdom and impart them with the wisdom that I've learned because this should not be kept to myself. So that's why I'm doing this. So I just wanted to get into this whole concept of when we've been burned. And here's the thing. We can become better at making good judgments, trusting our intuition. Ultimately, what we shouldn't do is allow those bad experiences and the feeling of being burned to dictate our future. I'm never getting coaching again and I'm never doing that again. No, we learn from it and then we figure out, how can I use that in my life? How can I use that lesson to improve my own business, to improve things in other areas of my life? So this is what we do. We turn something that maybe wasn't a good experience and we learn from it and we turn it into something good. What else have you experienced? I'd love to hear from you. What are the other ways you've been burned in the past? How have you learned from it? And what are you going to do going forward? I hope this was encouraging to you. If you are feeling the call that you want to learn from somebody who's done the things you do, holds the same values as you, God first, family second, business third, and you want to leave a lasting impact in this world, build a legacy for your family, reach out to me on Instagram, and I would love to chat with you. All right, ciao.